Okay, so today we're going to be working on a 820-00138 with 12.27 volts on PBUS G3 hot. So if we look, see, our meter is in view. We are going to measure PBUS G3 hot. One thing to note on these 00138 boards, it will boot loop with no battery connected. So we have the battery disconnected just so we can measure accurately, and we measure here, and that is 12.26 volts. So let's plug the battery in, check again, and it's 12.27 volts still. So we have an issue going on somewhere here with our board. So let's grab a screw holder. Let's take this board out. So typically, well, the note said that there was liquid on the battery FPC connector. Now that would make me suspect something with the battery FPC connector if it was doing it when the battery was disconnected too, but I don't see anything like that. And furthermore, this was already ultrasonically clean, so I don't think there's any corrosion under the battery connector that could be causing this. I could be wrong, but let's take a look. So let's take the board out and let's see what we find. Cedric is here, High Voltage is here, Ed is here, Bailey is here. I couldn't imagine my stream having high levels of viewership today. What happened?
Oh, I cracked my knee.
That hurts. So typically with issues on PPBus G3 out like this when it's low, we either have an issue around our ISL or with our SMC. So that's the most common thing. This board looked pretty clean, especially around the ISL from what I've seen. So I kind of doubt that there's an issue there, but we will see. It's also possible that if there was corrosion in the battery connector, that the SMC somehow took a spike from the corrosion, because if you send 8 volts down the 3-volt SMC data line, it is not going to be happy and it will die. So that's another possibility. So we're going to take the board out, almost out here, and let's have a look. So board is out. Switch over to microscope view. Microscope view. Let's have a look. So here's our ISL. And we see that looks pretty clean. There's like no evidence of liquid there. This was ultrasonically cleaned. However, you typically see some spots there if it was indeed corroded. You'd see like areas of pins that are gray and everything, and you're just not seeing that here. Maybe a little bit right there, but I kind of think that's just from the ultrasonic. Now let's have a look at the SMC. So the SMC also looks clean. There's typically signs of corrosion, but then again, this was ultrasonically cleaned, so you can't really see it. So where's that one diode? Where is it here? I think it's right around this area. I'll look it up. D7050 or something or other. But this board looks pretty clean, especially in the typical areas that we would expect for the board having this issue. So the battery connector around here looks pretty clean. What about if we angle the board? Can we see under there? Probably not. But I would not think that there's going to be corrosion under there causing this. It looks clean. It doesn't look like burned or anything. So yeah, it's probably fine. So whenever we get an issue like this, typically one of the SM bus data lines will be shorted if there's an issue with our ISL. So what we can do is open the right board view and not the wrong board view, that's what I can't speak. Open the right board view, unlike the one we have open right now. So this is an A2000138, which is probably going to be, I believe this is the one that there is no board view for, so they give you a 163 or something, I don't remember. Let's see, so here is the board view. Let's go over to OBS, turn off. So here's our display capture. So, come on. Here's our ISL. So there's these two data lines, these SM bus, SMC5, SDA, whatever. So these are going to be the SMC communication lines to the battery and to the SMC and the ISL. So this is what the ISL, the battery, and the SMC are going to use to communicate. Now typically, we get an issue here if one of these is shorted to ground. So there's going to be two ways this is going to fail. It's either going to be shorted to ground but by the ISL, by D7050, or by the SMC, or the ISL just won't be doing its job and it will be low like that. So we're going to go ahead and check for a short to ground on both of these. We're going to measure on the diode. If there is a short, we will take off first the diode, then the ISL, and then the SMC to see if it resolves. So if it's not shorted, my suspect is either going to be the ISL or the SMC. Due to the fact of liquid being around the edge here, my guess is probably going to be the ISL that I'll replace first and try, but it's probably not going to be that, and it probably will indeed be the SMC. This resistor could also be bad, but I highly doubt it. But let's see. So let's go back over to microscope view and see. Travis and Christian are here. So here's our diode. Let's check for short to ground. And sure enough, we have a 2.2 ohm short to ground. Let me show you this. Blurry. Nobody can see anything. That's no good. Okay, so measure on We have short, we have no short. We have short, we have no short. So I kind of doubt the diode is bad. I'll show you guys on here the meter. Short, no short. So let's take off the diode just to check. It's the easiest thing to do, and it's right there, so we might as well take it off and check. However, our issue is probably going to be the ISL 6259. So I'm going to use just a tiny amount of flux, because this has already been ultrasonic, so we don't want to really do it again. It's not too good for the board to go through so many ultrasonic cycles. Sometimes it's unavoidable, but we're going to try and minimize it. Let's grab a better pair of tweezers, because these are trash. The tweezers I grabbed were not much better. This would absolutely make my day if this diode was bad. However, it's probably not. Let's check again for a short. And it's still shorted as expected. Now, I just got a new pair of tweezers like yesterday. Here they are. No, wait. These might be them. The tweezers never stay new for like more than a day. What software do you use for booking in jobs and tracking updates? I use Repair Shopper for booking, and ShipStation for shipping stuff and all that. I'm currently working on a better way to do everything a more organized way, but until then, I'm still going to stick with Repair Shopper, but I'm trying to figure a more organized way to send updates and just basic stuff like that. Okay, so next I will remove our ISL. So, let's see if this does anything. Doubt it will. Because my luck, it's always the SMC. And I knocked around some components here. And a hair just melted. Okay. Here's our diode. Can you guys see this? And our short is resolved. So it was indeed a bad ISL 6259, so I did get an easy one. That is quite interesting. That usually never happens. Let's clean this flux up. I'm not going to ultrasonic this again, so I want to take special care to make sure this area looks clean. Just don't want flux smeared around everywhere. Let's grab a new chip. Justin is here. Cam is here. Any big holiday plans, Tim? Other than work? No. Now you may wonder, why am I not soldering on all edges of the chip? Well, one, the other sides are soldered just fine, and two, I really don't want to put a lot of flux around here because the ISL 6259 circuit is sensitive to the flux, and what will happen is you will get 12.4 volts or something like that around there on PBUS if you leave flux on it, so I'm minimizing it, and it's really just not necessary to solder all sides when the rest are fine. We're just going to clean this really good, get all that stuff loose, and then we'll do it again with a cleaner Q-tip. This would technically be fine like this, but I don't like that. Okay, and that is a pretty clean chip. Alright, so let's plug this in now. Let's see what PBUS is measuring, if it's the same or if it's improved. So here's our charger. And we don't get fan spin. There we go. There's fan spin. And let's see. 12.69 volts, which is too high, which is really strange because that probably means our ISL is dead. Yeah, 12.69 volts is too high. So, let's clean it again. This is what I mean about flux around this chip. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat it a little bit to see if there's any flux under there. Any amount just screws it up. That's what I've learned. So we may have to ultrasonic it again if it acts weird. So I'm going to heat it up and see if there's any flux that burns off from underneath. And that should be good. Yeah, typically when you have 12.69 volts or something like that, it won't charge the battery, or it'll charge slow or so, just nonsense. So that's not good. Clean it again. Technically 12.69 is still kind of in range. Like, I probably am not going to replace MOSFETs over this, but sometimes you will have to. Yeah, 12.69 volts. That's not right. It would work, but it's not right. Yeah, it's not right. So, I want to replace the ISL with a different one. Will this work? Am I being maybe a little bit too picky? Maybe. But I don't want to let something go that I think is not right, so we're going to go ahead and replace this again. We grab a different chip. This happens occasionally. If it's the same, I may have to replace the MOSFETs too. Let's find a board with an ISL on it. Which may be hard. What do you know? First one has an ISL on it. Okay, ISL time. Another ISL, I should say. Not that I know of. No, like, they'll probably take weeks. Yeah, they're never fast. Wish they would come today, but yeah, that's not happening. Any kind of utility companies usually take their time. No. Okay, let's try this again. If it's 12.69 volts again, I'll probably just let it be. It's still within range of being able to charge the battery. I just would like it 12.56. And what do you know, 12.58. It's perfect now. Perfect. So now the next test is, does this see the battery? Because that was the issue this had, is not detecting the battery. Does this see the old battery? Is the battery dead as well? What's going to happen? So let's grab the enclosure. Let's put it in the enclosure, and let's see if it sees the battery. Here's our enclosure. Here's our board. The stupid, whatever the heck this thing is, cable. So annoying. It gets stuck under the board and... Come on, speaker cable. Let's plug in trackpad. Let's plug in screen. Let's plug in keyboard. Plug in battery. Hit the power button. And we get fan spin, which means that battery is detected. See that? Fan spin. Now let's plug in our SSD and see if it actually sees and charges a battery. So well, we know it sees the battery. Let's see if it charges the battery. Anella's here. Anella's not going to wish a dead CPU on this. And Sonia's here. Yes, Anella's the Grim Reaper of MacBooks. If he shows up in chat, that means the CPU is going to die. Here's our test disk. The Apple logo. This is off a battery, no charger. See, no charger. So this was a bad ISL. A rare case of just a bad ISL. If this doesn't just hang on the Apple logo or something, like it's doing right now. What are you doing? Come on. Okay, why are you on the Apple logo? Okay, now I had an issue with this SSD, so I'm kind of maybe thinking the SSD may be bad. I'm gonna plug in their SSD and see what it does. Yeah, I'm gonna plug in their SSD and see if it boots off of their SSD. Because I kind of think my test SSD is starting to die. It's been run over by the chair and who knows what else. Let's cover their name if it pops up. Come on, Apple logo. There we go. Okay, you're just gonna hang on the Apple logo. What the heck? No, there we go. It's booting. It's gonna boot into recovery probably. Yeah, it's gonna boot into recovery as usual. And the fans just went fast. Probably because the CPU is burning hot. We have a cursor. Yep, for sure booting into recovery. There we go. Let's restart. And the fan is running on fast because there's only one fan. And why aren't you restarting? There we go. Give me Apple logo. Where's Apple logo? Apple logo. Progress bar. And this is why you don't work on a MacBook when an L comes in chat. Because your machine will not boot properly. Okay, this is a 2015 and they're weird about stuff being plugged in. Let's plug in the I/O board and stuff, because that could be why it's not booting. These can be really picky about if they work with no I/O board or other stuff not plugged in. So let's plug in everything. Everything important, I should say, and let's see if it turns on. Except for camera. We don't need a camera. But we do need an I/O board. And the battery's dead. The other thing that'll typically cause not booting on these is a bad battery. So as much as it sounds silly, a bad battery on these will cause the machine not to boot or to get stuck like this one is doing. So this could actually be a bad battery, and this does not look like an Apple OEM battery, is it? I don't think so. Maybe. I think it's a knockoff. let's just see what it does. I'm going to leave it like this. Actually, you know what? Let's boot into my SSD and not theirs again. Just because I don't want their name to come up if I leave it. And I want to see what this actually does. Does it boot loop? What does it do? It's not acting like a dead battery, though. It would usually boot loop with a dead battery. Let's try my SSD again. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. Come on, give me a progress bar. Should give me a progress bar by now. Let's try this. PRAM reset. Do it 3 times. There's 2. And there's 3. Be surprised how many issues that solves sometimes. Semi-dead GPU book. No, these are okay. The integrated iris graphics, they're usually pretty solid. They don't die. Well, they die, but not that often. It usually presents with garbled stuff on the screen and not. I kind of suspect my SSD is going out because this SSD did the same thing last night, but now the progress bar comes up. Now let's see if it actually gets anywhere. And what do you know? A PRAM reset solved the boot issue, or did it? Yep. And no, I don't care if you see the password on this because it's not important. You know how to get in my test drive because my test drive has no important info on it. So, let's see if I can zoom in. Let's see. Overhead, properties, configure video. Let's see. Can I zoom in? Nah, it's not going to do anything. The fans are running fast already, which is kind of strange. Okay, so CPU usage is at like none, and it's okay, when I ultrasonic this last night, did me being half asleep forget to put thermal paste on it? Did me being half asleep forget to put thermal paste on it? Because that's how this is acting. Okay, let's see how dumb I really am. First off, let me fix this. Zoom, we want to go back to normal. Come on, don't be annoying. There we go. Okay. Did I really forget to put thermal paste on this? That doesn't sound like something I would do even when tired. I don't think I would do that. That's more of like an Anthony or a Nell thing to do. Maybe I put too much or not enough. Rob Brown is here. There's definitely thermal paste on there. Maybe a little bit too much. Let's reapply it. Let's use a little bit less this time. I doubt that's the issue though. It's probably just being a MacBook. No, this is okay. This wasn't that much. But if the heatsink was uneven or something, maybe it is. Clean this heatsink. If the heatsink for whatever reason is not even, you can get too much or too little, and you'll get issues like that. This heatsink design honestly sucks. The way it's set up with the, just how it's set up. It doesn't really put that great of pressure, at least I don't think it does, and the heatsink's able to slide around a little bit. It should have stayed with the old design, at least I think. Could be wrong. Maybe a thermal engineer can answer that question. I guess maybe this would put more mounting pressure on it. But it doesn't really keep it as secure as the other one did. Oh yeah, you know what? You're absolutely right. I had one fan in it. Okay, now I'm just being stupid. I only had one fan in it. That's why it's running so hot. It needs two fans blowing it. Okay, I'm dumb. I did not even think that it needs two fans. Alright, let's fully reassemble this and let's retry. Had one fan in it. I didn't even consider it. Then again, idle. Alright, let's try, see if idle is the same. So we will try with just one fan. Come on, give me a boot menu. Give me a boot menu. I have had this happen a few times in this machine where you put too much or too little thermal paste on it and the fans just rev because the heatsink is uneven and just not right. So that could very well be the case here. You're not even showing me an Apple logo yet. What the heck? There we go. Alright, you had an Apple logo, now you don't. And you just shut off. Because the battery isn't plugged in all the way. I did not seat the battery all the way, and that's what happens on these if you do not plug the battery in. Is they will do weird stuff without the battery. I'm not. Not yet anyway. Maybe later. Come on.
Mind if I run and grab something?
No, go ahead.
I'm just gonna go like just around here. Are you sure you want me to?
I'm positive, yeah.
I'm trying to do it on Postmates, but I don't really know how.
I've heard of that, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try it. So I don't have to.
Either way works. I mean, okay. Okay, so we're still at 90 Celsius. Let's plug in the other fan. Let's see if it drops. Come on. Go in there. I'm trying to plug in the fan when it's on. It's awkward at that angle. Ow. Burned myself on the hot heatsink. Okay, and that temperature dropped drastically when I plugged that fan in. We're at 62 now. Okay, so it does need two fans to test. Oh well. Yeah, that dropped like, we're at 57 now. Okay, so my dumb self reapplied thermal paste for nothing. It in reality just needed the fan to be plugged in. What did you know? Does a MacBook really need a fan to be plugged in? Who would have thought a computer needs a fan to be plugged in? Okay, so this is repaired, obviously. It charges a battery, it sees a battery, it is good to go. So, let's go ahead and finish reassembling this, why not? Why not finish reassembling this, since it's right here? Nice, easy fix. And why do I have a jacket on? It's hot in here. Because I forgot to take it off. I'm becoming increasingly forgetful for some reason. Why won't this microphone go in my ear right? That's weird. Why? There. Still wants to come off. The cable being tugged. Oh, that's why. Okay. Let's put the screws back in. And we'll move on to the next one. Cam says bookmark. Bookmark indeed. Bookmark indeed. Fixed bookmark. No more broken bookmark. Not for today. Stress from owning your own business can make you forgetful. Also the lack of sleep. I agree. It's mainly the stress that gets me. I get pretty good sleep now. At least I tried to. But yeah, stress. Yeah, stress kills. It really does. Merry Christmas to you too, Mario. Is Tim gonna work Christmas Day? It depends on how I feel. Maybe, maybe not. Gonna probably go with no. I'm gonna work tonight, probably late. Maybe I'll take a day off, maybe I won't. It really depends on how I feel. We are almost done reassembling. I know, it's boring. No one wants to watch this. Trust me, I don't blame you. I don't want to do it either. Let's see. Is the battery still good? Yeah, the battery is fine. Battery is 100% fine. I'm quite happy we did not have to replace an SMC. That would have sucked. Replacing SMCs is not fun. That would have sucked big time. I'm confused because I don't see bottom case screws, and yeah, I'll have to replace bottom case screws. Oh well. So everything is good here. Let's plug this in. Where's the bottom case? Here's the bottom case. Oh shoot, I showed the name. Oh well. That's not from my shop either. So, oops. It happens. What can you do? Gonna plug this in. I'm gonna put it on stress test. I'm gonna grab the next machine to work on. I don't think anyone managed to read it. Yeah, you can't see it at all. So therefore, I don't worry about it. Boot into the OS again, and let me go see what's next. So, we have beeping one. No, I am not working on that right now. Tonight I'm going to work on beeping one and stream it. No, I know, my chat is watched by mainly calm people. So here's the thing, you know, like all the times where Lewis said like free please bro support and everything? Like nobody's even called me. Like there's been few people that have emailed that have took it seriously. Lewis said, I get emails that say like, oh, Lewis said you offer free help for board repair, and it's like, yeah, no. You don't understand that, then I don't know what you'll understand. But like all the times like my number was shown and everything, nobody's called my number or anything. Okay, so the next one is a A1932 with liquid damage. Let's see, what do you do? I can only hope that you have 5 volts on USB-C. I can only hope you have 5 volts on USB-C. You have 5 volts on USB-C? 5 volts. You have 5 volts on USB-C, so maybe you'll be easy. Or maybe you'll have a dead ISL 9239. Let's hope for easy. I mean ISL 9240, in which case I will cry. I've been thinking of a way to get the other one, to the 239, to work with the 940. The last board that I was going to do it on had a dead T2 chip, so it wasn't worth even trying. But this board, maybe there'll be a way that we could bypass it. And if so, that'll make for an interesting project for a stream today or tomorrow. Be hilarious, Rob. Let's see if Rob calls my number. No, Rob wouldn't do that. Rob, by the way, I think the number you have I don't have anymore. If it's the 661-361-66880, I don't have that one anymore. That was my personal phone, and I don't have a personal phone anymore. I have no need to have a personal phone. One second. Will you wear a Santa hat while working tomorrow? No. I would look silly. I would look silly. In 1 second, I just remembered I have to order a part. That I did not order yesterday because I forgot, because my memory is screwed up from working too much. Let's see. A 1474. A 1474. Apple. iPad. Let's just see. A1474. No, we don't work on iPads. Don't send an iPad because it sucks, and I will not do it. Okay, A1474. What are you? iPad Air. iPad Air 1, I guess? 1. What? Okay. How do I know this is the right one? Like, doesn't have a model number here? Okay, people in chat that know more than me. Um, A1474 is what? Is that an iPad Air 1? Anyone before I click buy now? Rob, A1474. And it's too late. Put this machine on stress test. 1 second. And this board looks pretty clean. Like, really clean. Let me tell you something. I do like these. I do like these to take apart. These are super quick and easy machines to disassemble, and I do like these. I mean, I don't like them as a machine. I like them to disassemble. They're like 2 seconds. Not as good as the old MacBook Air, but okay. So we have, see this? There's liquid here. There's liquid here. Let's unplug the battery. But these are super nice and easy to take apart. They take 2 seconds, literally. Well, more than that, but 2 minutes. If 2 minutes. And where'd that one little screw go? It fell. They do have tiny screws. That is a little bit annoying with the tiny screws, but what are you going to do? Useless shield over the Wi-Fi antennas. Literally useless. I don't see any point in having that, but it's there. So we should probably find that screw. Come on, little shield. There we go. There's a hidden screw under here. Christmas lunch. Thank you, Mario, for the €4. Or €5. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And our little screw seems to have disappeared. I don't see our little screw anywhere. And I also don't see a reason why we should be at 5 volts. Because there's like no liquid on this board. Where's our little screw? Disappeared completely. Oh well. You don't get a Wi-Fi shield put back on. Not that that matters. Okay, so USB-C ports are unremarkable. Come on, focus scope. USB-C ports are unremarkable. CD3215 area is unremarkable. ISL 9240 area is unremarkable. Entire system board is unremarkable. That I could see anyway. But why don't you work? Here's our T2 chip. Yeah, this is unremarkable. Everything. Okay, so here's our 5 volts. Let's just let it sit for a second. Oh no, it does go to 20 volts. And this is turning on. Or is it? Oh, it's boot looping, I think. No, it's not. MobiFix is here. Okay, so this does turn on. Okay, so my guess of why this is not working is going to be this. That looks real pretty. So that board is the I/O board or something, which means I probably don't make money. Alright, let's put the board in. Let's plug everything in and see if it turns on still. That's a headphone jack and speaker board. Now my next question is can I get that? And how cheap is that? We're going to plug it in again. Let's see what it does plugged in now with the Daughterboard also plugged in. 5 volts. It should have switched to 20 by now. Alright, Rob, have a good Christmas Eve. Okay, so this is staying on 5 volts and not turning on. Let's unplug this Daughterboard and see. So the Daughterboard is unplugged, 5 volts, 20 volts. Well, 20 volts, there we go. And do we boot? So that Daughterboard can indeed cause 5 volts. So I don't want to show anything on the screen that I shouldn't. Screen is plugged in, we should be booting here. Apple logo. And see that? It does indeed boot. So, this little Daughterboard. Let's see if I can get this first. Let's see if this is available. Because sometimes these parts aren't available, and then you have to fix it. So, A1932. Where is it? MacBook Air. And that is 34 bucks. I'll let the guy know. What little board number is that? Or is this the same one? Let's see. Yeah, you're the same one. Okay, so yeah, boring, not a board repair. That's it for right now. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next stream, probably later today.